Good morning. Good morning. I'd like to know before we begin, whoever participated in an event with this format here? Only one? Already? Yes, good. First, I'd like to introduce myself, Vicky Block. I know that there are many people here that I know, and my role is to be a facilitator for these ladies and gentlemen, people who know what they talk about when they talk about talent. We will talk about talent, its growth, how we're enchanting, how we're retaining talent, and talking about talent, we will also talk about women. The format we have here is to try to, we want to try to include you. That's why we have this arena, this format. We want, therefore, to do this. And I'd like to stress the only important rule we have here: questions, not speeches. You know, when a person grabs the microphone and says everything she knows, she agrees, disagrees, and doesn't ask a question. I will interrupt when we have these cases, okay? Especially with this set of women here, it'll be terrible if we don't only ask questions. We only have an hour and a half. We don't have 2 days. So I will provoke you and I will include you in this process. Okay? All set? So I'd like to begin. I will sit here. Okay, I'd like to begin here with Satya. I don't know. He was here in previous events, right, Satya? Yesterday, you were here yesterday. He's chairman for the Central and South America region for Sodexo. Uh, okay, introduce yourself, Satya. Good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here. I work at Sodexo, a well-known company here and around the world. I'm very happy to be able to contribute for the growth of women, and especially in the workplace, and the talent we need for the future. You're responsible for all of Latin America? Yes. I'm responsible for on-site services. We take care of the infrastructure of our clients, hospitals, industry, schools, doing facility management, and also house care services in South America. Good morning. Okay. My name is Ney Silva. I am Director of Human Resources at Natura, which gives me a reasonable experience with women. More than 60% of the employees at Natura are women, but I believe my greatest experience with women is at home. Apart from my wife, I have 3 daughters and and some are teenagers and also a boy, a 5-year-old boy. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm introducing men first on purpose to show that we're being nice to them. Okay, Cabrera. Good morning. My name is Luis Carlos Cabrera. I have 2 hats that I have been using for many years. One as a professor of Fundação Getúlio Vargas University, and also as headhunter with Amra Panelli for more than 30 years working in the market. I'm very honored to be here. I'm very honored to have been accepted in this women's forum, which has some representatives that are men to balance things. And I hope hope we will have a nice and productive morning. Good morning. My name is Brenda Fukuta, and I have been talking to women for more than 20 years. I have two boys at home, and they cheer for Corinthians soccer team. But for more than 20 years, I am a journalist. I worked in Editora Abril for a long time. There, I took care of more than 20 magazines and sites for women. And before that, I worked with youngsters also in Abril Publishing Company. Two groups that are very challenging, the Y generation and women. So it's a great pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank Jennifer's, Vicky's invitation, and I know that it'll be a very good debate. Cabrera, since you're a professor, we'd like to begin asking you to talk about what you define today as talent. What is your definition of talent? Let me create, let me give you the context. The world in which we live, which is a very fast world, it has at least 3 or 4 megatrends. These megatrends are demographics. Demographics changes all over the world with the aging of European countries, with modernization of Asian countries, with the demographic bonus, as we call it, in our Brazilian society. Another aspect to be taken into consideration, and you will see that it affects all our analysis, is urbanization. We have a growing urbanization all over the world. Third aspect is technology. Digital technology has brought a revolution that includes and excludes people in the workplace, in the labor market. There is a fourth component which is extremely important, which is the great economic changes. So these have changed. The economy has changed after many years, and today we no longer have the economy based on the U.S. It began, now it's in Asia, and today we have the Far East becoming economically very important. The great change in the concept is that until the 80s, 1980, talent was defined by a Gauss curve. You know, this Gauss curve defined and accepted only those had a very high IQ, and this was used for many years, linked to, for example, a high IQ. So those people that were considered talented for many years in our culture were sons of good families with a very high IQ. This concept disappears as of 1980, and talent today is the person that solves complex problems with intelligent solutions coming from the inner competencies, or presents solutions, various solutions for old problems. Now you can see that the word talent is directly linked to really carrying out a task, reaching an objective. If you want a summary, talent is the person that delivers more than we expect. Why do I give you this definition? Because we changed from the concept of intellectual potential from a concept of results. So talent is the one that finds solutions. There is no gender, no, there is no age. They find innovative solutions for old problems and find new solutions for complex problems. Always finding a solution. So it's no longer having intellectual potential. Nay, I will provoke you a little. How do you treat this kind of people? Yes, I liked your comment cover. What I observe is that in companies, although I agree totally with this new definition of talent, with this definition that is in force since the beginning of the 80s, we still have people who are working in the old model, considering talent as a small group. I remember that yesterday I was talking to one of our vice presidents, and it illustrates the change in paradigm. We were talking about a young person who works with us, and for some time he received secondary tasks, unimportant tasks, until someone, a new manager, created an opportunity, as you mentioned, in which the potential of that employee really flourished. And suddenly, the person who had secondary tasks became a talent. Curious, because talent was there. This person was already a talent, but the company until that point had not been able to find the way to create a context for his potential to flourish. So, bringing this to our reality in our company, Natura, a cosmetics company, and companies in general, I believe that of the great challenges that companies have, they have to create the right environments, the right scenarios for the talents that are inherent in our collaborators, employees may flourish. What I have seen, not only seen, but we also have diagnosed this in many surveys, recent surveys with young people or senior executives, is that these talents, they they have certain characteristics in companies. This is related to expectations, these people's expectations in relation to work. And to me, number one, more and more people expect to find in their work environment a link with an objective. So, as an employee, when I identify that my objective, my reason for being there to contribute to me and to the group, to society, if this has a link with the company's objective, I can truly manifest in an authentic way with the impact results for the organization as a whole. It facilitates to become passionate. Yes, yes, yes. The best of these people really surfaces. I have observed also that people are looking more and more for a balance between their personal lives, professional lives, social lives, and there's a greater and greater expectation that these boundaries will become weaker because we're at work and we can act socially with friends on Facebook. On the weekend, we are called for work issues. So, but if a certain company can create an environment that will become natural and also agreeable, they will be able to capture the talents and the potential of these people. And another component which I have noticed, and it is very present, the opportunities, the challenges to create, to make an impact, the opportunity to leave one's brand. The companies that create environments where this creative potential can surface and through work in in a team with interaction, co-creating, if they feel that they are leaving their contribution something, this gives meaning to their work. These people feel connected with this greater picture, an objective, a purpose, balance, and also challenge the being able to leave a legacy. The companies in Natura, we have tried to create the right environments for this to flourish. It's not easy, I'll tell you, but the companies that can best do this will be able to work better with this issue of talent. To me, to you, I'd like to ask Brenda. Brenda, tell me, your surveys, do they confirm this? Do you have data that supports this? Totally, yes. Nate described very well what I believe is a trend, like Cabrera said, in our world, the search for greater value in the relationship with the company and labor. In my mind, this is a trend that you identify in gender, in women. There's a recent survey saying that women want, in Brazil, one of the things they want the most at work is to be themselves, to continue with their personality and not mix with the company's personality. And also, it's an issue of the Y generation, for example. And I believe it's the Y generation was inspired by the mother. The Y generation saw their mother as a model to be copied. They absorbed this in terms of life. So I like to say that women really anticipated the values of the Y generation. And in this case, we're exactly at this moment. We workers demand from companies another type of contract. A contract that will offer, apart from recognition in terms of compensation, wages, and the space in society, the role that will offer also similar objectives. Modern companies that are not like traditional companies, large technology companies, they use this kind of aspirations, like Google, for example. They project inside and outside a company that wants to build something that will be a revolution, social revolution in the planet in with distribution, knowledge distribution. So they pass this value on to the employees, they respond, they believe in these values, and they pass this to society. So I agree totally with what you're saying. I believe that what Cabrera said, I would add only that of the large trends, at least in Brazil, we have demographic bonus in our favor, and we have a reserve. I mentioned this to Cynthia. Cynthia is a journalist specialized in women. She writes for Claudia magazine. Together, we said last year in the Women's Forum that the great challenge for Brazilian society is how to treat the Y women in terms of career when they will have ahead of them a country that will be older, they will have to take care of their parents, they will have to take care of their children without support from household helpers or maids, and also they will have to work with models that are still very masculine. Although we have companies like Natura concerned in supplying or environments that are more warm for women, they are still very masculine environments. But I agree with my two colleagues. Well, whoever wants to participate, please. We have microphones available. We have two receptionists with microphones available. Okay, okay, now, Satya, tell me, let's have a global look. They mentioned the talents. Where are these jobs for these people? For example, you work in an important part of the world. How do you see this? Where are these jobs? Also, this challenge of treating well this talent. It's a challenge for Brazil and the world. There are many similar things happening in various places around the world. I agree. Of course, today we have an alignment between the company's objective and the employee's objective. But I believe that, of course, this came from women from the Y generation, but the other generations are also being inspired by this. And everyone wants to work in an environment where the company's values are aligned with their values. No one wants to do something that will require that you deny things that are precious for you in your life. Now, Professor Kabir's ideas. We have to think about talent and the definition of talent in the future. Of course, we have to take care of the current needs, but how will you anticipate the needs of the future? Because you want talent today to have the right executives in the future. And it's very difficult in a world that is changing at the speed it's changing to have a good definition. It's difficult to have a good definition of talent. And that's why we're using a diversified vision of people. For example, there are having people that can produce results. And if you have diversification, teams with more women, you will be better prepared for the future, which you don't know how this future will be. It's hard to define this future. So, our main way today to prepare the future is to have the teams that have already proved that they can produce results, have diversified teams, to have the talent that will enable you with different cultures and to build something new in the future. The great equation is this: how are you working with your managers to manage this diversity? This is part of our process, management process. Well, I'm going to tell you about Sodexo. Sodexo is very well known. For example, we have restaurants, cafeterias. Our objective is to take care of the quality of life. We're convinced that if you give a good quality of life for people, they will be able to perform better and will be able to really produce more for the company. Quality of life is something you can't define in a theoretical way. It depends on people. For example, what is quality of life when you're